Welcome to the Challenge Chronicles. I'm Devin Jordan. I'm with Trace Armstrong and Rob McIntyre. We're here to discuss episode, is it 5 or 6?
This is 5.
Episode 5 of the Challenge Double Agents. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can watch us on our YouTube channel or Pat Mayo's YouTube channel, which is, I think, Mayo Media Network. If you would like to write us a listener email question or give us any comments, questions, or concerns, you can reach us at thechallengechronicles@gmail.com. You can also buy any Challenge Chronicles paraphernalia at bigdubdiesel.com, dub with 2 B's. And with that, phenomenal episode. Definitely sad to see.
Good too.
Definitely sad to see Natalie go. But I thought this was really good.
That devastated me. I was absolutely devastated. I was like, the Harden trade had just happened before this episode, so I was like all amped up, and then it just devastation from Natalie going home.
Indeed, it was a sad moment. She was making for a really good competitor on the show and was in a really good spot. And the other sad thing about it too is another female went home
seriously
for a health reason. And now there until the end of the episode, that left us with 0 females with gold skulls until the end of the episode.
It's gonna be interesting to see how they handle that. I think they kind of just like let it play out. I think that they're going to be fine with just having the guys will start stealing skulls before the women do.
You mentioned that in our text message thread last week when we were discussing options, and I agree with you that that's probably what they'll do. And to go back to the conversation that we had last week about whether or not last week would be a guys or girls elimination day, we definitely thought about after the episode aired, which I mean is definitely, or after we finished recording, that they bring back an alternate or someone like Ashley back into the game. We thought about that afterward as a possibility. And so,
how about I guess Ashley coming in and not bringing in an alternate? That's what funny. I was joking with in our text thread too earlier about them like Polly and Cara or Johnny and Jenny, somebody crazy like that showing up. But apparently Jenny was on location as an alternate.
Didn't you say that? I thought you said that she left like right when the game started, right? Didn't you say
that?
No,
I'm not positive about that. I don't know. That's what people had speculated as to why. That's what people had speculated as to why she wasn't brought in and Ashley was. That Ashley was easier to corral. Why? I thought it would have made way more sense to bring an alternate. I'm happy to have Ashley back. She's good.
Oh yeah. I would have been. I think depending on who the alternate is would determine whether or not I would want the alternate to come back into the game. But how is? Yeah, I would definitely want to know for sure if Jenny was an alternate or if she just had to leave the game for whatever reason. Because if she's an alternate, producers, what the fuck are you doing? Why is Jenny an alternate? That's what everyone wants to see.
Well, I think that there was I don't know. I think it may have been a testing issue. I also really think I think some of these people are kind of too good for like we saw with Evelyn. Like Evelyn was actually an alternate member on Fresh Meat 2. Which seems insane that like they would have Joanna or whoever was supposed to be on and had the passport issue instead of Evelyn. But I think sometimes they just don't want these competitors to like just win every time. So if somebody gets that equity, then they don't want to bring them on. I would have much preferred to see Jenny come on. I just would want to see how she would compete with all these people.
Yeah. Well, just so that another listener doesn't lose their mind, he said Johanna, but he meant John A.
I didn't even meant me to say. Did I say Johanna?
Yeah, you did. I just wanted to clear that up. We have enough hardcore fans on this show that would have been screaming at their podcast machine if I didn't correct that real quick.
Well, what's funny is he may have said that, but in my mind, I still thought John A.
Yeah, exactly. I was with you because I was like, no, Johanna was way done after that, so I immediately understood what he was doing. So all good, but yeah, no,
I gone too. Smashy is probably in a pretty decent position. I think she'll because I think her being with CT, I think that was just too big of a target on the team. Like we've seen with CT now, being paired with Big T actually kind of helps him. I think that's really what got Wes out of here too.
Is Big T and CT one of the all-time most entertaining pairs?
I'm all in. I'm all in
as well.
I love every second of them being on team. CT's been like he's been dealt a. I mean, if you look at the past 5 or 6 seasons, CT's had one good season since after 30-30. So I'm sure he's actually just really happy with the situation too. But they're very fun to see on TV.
Well, especially after how it first started, right? At the beginning of the season, he thought his days could have been numbered, and then they found out that, he found out that the game was a little bit different than the house initially thought it would be. But I thought one of the best moments of this episode was whenever Big T said, "Let me see your mean face," and then Big T, I don't even know how to describe her reaction to it, but
It was really funny.
Or with the jeweled makeup too, and the igloo, whatever they call the club igloo, whatever they call it.
The
That
dome.
was pretty good.
Big
Having
T-
Tori like kiss
The
her on the
biodome for all
finger.
you old people like myself.
Big T, when she's in a position of authority, is like cocky George on Seinfeld. It just full, goes straight to their head. They're on top of the world. You're their servants. Look out.
It was really
I
funny.
think it's a good move too, because like clearly she's playing it up and knows she's playing it out, but it also
yeah.
kind of like diffuses the tension in a way around her where people don't take her that seriously.
Yeah, it's a good move.
Like it has PT on her team. Like they have and they're also in a position too where since she's so small and he's so big, a lot of these competitions break down where it's like how much can the guy hold up the woman or some sort of breakdown that way. They're actually a very, very strong competitor in any of those matchups.
I will also applaud the rookie women. Bravo. Yes. They came to play. This is phenomenal. And I think Kyle summed it up when he said the rookie women this season are actually pretty good.
They're not like rookies. They're actually pretty good. They came to play.
I feel like usually they'll try to stitch something together like this where it's like, all right, we'll get the weekend competition out of the way. And then just for whatever reason, something ends up not working with that. But like they got a huge majority to put Anissa and Leroy. I mean, even Leroy voted Anissa and Leroy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That might be one of the most successful rookie alliances of all time. It could be number one.
Well, we're 5 episodes in. We got to give it some time. I mean, Frank and Zach won.
They got rid of arguably one of the most competitive females in the house tonight.
I think that it was not only that, they seemed like they were in a good position too with Tori and Anissa, and that just didn't end up materializing.
This was this is probably the worst episode that Tori has ever had.
Yes.
She had it bad. I felt she was getting ragged on a lot, and she's kind of become just one of the cast members that people like to dunk on a lot. I felt kind of bad for her. She just was getting how many confessionals did Devin have ragging on Tori this episode?
A lot.
Every single one. Like
every single time Devin was on screen.
He doesn't have Johnny around now, so he needs somebody to just be like the antagonist for him, I guess. Oh, no, who he's going to latch onto now.
Yeah. I think his parting shot at the end of the episode was the best part. He's like, if you had said to people that after 5 episodes that Devin and Anissa would have skulls, would you believe that?
I feel like Anissa's another one too. I feel like she gets. If you look at her track record, she has some stuff she's good at.
She's great in eliminations. Has 0 endurance.
Yeah, she'll be around for a while. If you
cockroach of the challenge, and again, everyone, I mean that affectionately. I don't mean it disparagingly. Like when the challenge is all said and done, and a bomb goes off, Anissa will be crawling out from the rubble. Oh
my god! So we have to talk about her taking back Fessy at the end of the episode. I started dying laughing.
Brilliant.
I didn't think it was that brilliant. I mean, Fessy's in such a bad spot right now. You think that was? I thought it was just purely out of spite.
Yeah,
I think it was a little of both. I think it was out of spite, and I also think it's a brilliant move. And the reason, even though he's got a target on his back, as much as Corey says, "Oh, I'm gonna, we're just gonna keep throwing Fessy in," it's like, well, you have to get a skull yourself, dude. Like Fessy's probably gonna win most eliminations you throw him in there for. So at some point, dude, you've got to focus on getting your skull and playing your game. And CT's not just going to go along with throwing Fessy in every time. There's so many people that it would be detrimental for them to throw Fessy in again. So by the 2 of them having skulls, it kind of takes them out of the way for a while. It puts off another potential ability, but it's also great too because they don't want the Big Brother Alliance to get too much power. And by Anissa being back on Fessy's team, it's going to make it harder for Fessy to get in power again.
I think that makes sense to want to be on a team with another skull, because then, like, if you're on a team on a person that doesn't have a skull, they're going to want to go in at some point, and that could end up costing you. But if you both have skulls, I mean, Fessy might want to put himself in just so he can run the final with Casey instead, but maybe he'll just wait for Casey to come pick him back up.
Honestly, I feel like that kind of like takes a little bit of heat off of Fessy too. I feel like in some
way, certainly must hope so. I don't even why do you him picking Casey last week? I really think was
I don't dumb.
One of the weirder.
So every move he made last week was pretty dumb socially and politically.
I don't know. I feel like I was on the same page with him until he did that. Did either of you notice that Kim and Josh had the same confessional outfits this week?
Yes, I did notice that. It was basically the same one Fessy was wearing before. It's the rock with the black sweater and the chain.
The turtleneck.
That's what I'm telling you, man. They've got a budget, and there is just a trunk full of secret agent clothes in the confessional booth that they pull on before they do their thing.
When we do our first YouTube video, all three of us, that's what we're wearing. Turtlenecks with gold chains.
Wes was saying that it does happen a lot where their outfits will get mixed up, so sometimes people will trade out. Like when you bring outfits to the show, you're not necessarily coming back with it, and people will just kind of move outfits around sometimes for fun.
Yeah.
I think, do you think they actually traded out? Like they had to have, right? It was the exact same outfit for all three of them.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, that's one of those like hidden secrets of the challenge that they don't talk about a whole lot. But I remember, I think it was Bananas doing an interview once. They don't do their own laundry. Like production has people that goes in and gets their dirty clothes and they just wash it all. So like a lot of times the clean clothes come back and your stuff's just not there because it gets mixed in with somebody else's, or they lose it, or it gets lost in transit somehow. But yeah, the cast doesn't actually do their own laundry. Production has somebody do that for them.
If you notice Cam's, I saw at the very end, Cam's had some holes in them on the front. So I think hers may have belonged to her.
Okay. I mean, it would make sense. I would assume that they're not all the same size.
I think they should have just, the title of the episode should have been, quote, "The old bitch still has it," end quote. When Anissa says that at the end. I thought that
usually they go for a theme. So I think that it's been movies so far this season, right?
What was the title of this episode? I have no idea what the title of
this was. Skyfall, like the
Skyfall was this one, yeah.
What other ones?
Actually, no. They've been switching it up now. It's License to Kill Cam, Die of Another Day, Enemy of the State. So
they had a bunch of Bond ones and then a Will Smith movie.
I guess it's just spy movies, yeah. Because the next episode is From Teresa with Love.
Oh, so instead of From Russia with Love, it's From Teresa.
I feel like replacing From Russia with Love, replacing the Russia with something else has been done by like 1,000 different people.
Yeah. It's clever though. I give them credit. I mean, it's a clever way to do the titles. It's like the one from Rivals 2 where it was like The Dark Knight Rises, the one where Knight caused all the ruckus in the house that one night.
Yeah, that's a lot of episodes in Rivals 2.
Yeah, like all of them.
So
go ahead.
So I was just saying, going back to the beginning, what did we think about Fessy's explanation of that Josh and Nelson were going to go in against each other anyway, so he was for sure losing somebody? And
I didn't mind it. I thought that was like a good, like a good attempt, because he's in a really bad spot. That's at least that's something.
Yeah. I think that's as good as you can do in that spot. He did actually release a somewhat formal apology about the situation, saying if he could do it again, he wouldn't have done it. I still think overall, even game-wise, specifically, it was a bad move. I don't think he's in a bad spot necessarily. I just thought his spot was like an A before he did the move, and now it's more of an A-.
Yeah, he was in a really good spot before. He's in a really good spot now. Because at this point, how many men have skulls? Three.
And the other two are Kyle and Devin.
Yeah, so they're definitely on the chopping block before him for people have to start stealing directly from somebody.
So what are the odds that Kyle and Devin have skulls by the end of the season?
Both or one?
Yeah, both of them still having skulls at the end of the season.
Like 10%.
That's a low number, isn't it?
Like,
I give Kyle a better chance than Devin. I just feel like that if there's a skull steal, they're throwing Devin in when they get the chance.
Well, if you can just steal somebody's skull straight up,
I don't think they
well,
would
actually,
do that.
what do you think is the optimal play in that spot? Like, if you say you're picking between these three for whatever reason, whose skull would you want to steal?
Fessie's.
Yeah, but then that puts Fessy back in the elimination bracket. And that
That's fine though.
No, you mean
maybe it's.
You mean if you to go in?
If you can just
into
outright
elimination
steal
with?
it.
Let's say you guys possess the mind of Darrell, let's say, and you beat Corey in elimination, however far down the line. And you can choose between these three people who to steal from. Who would you take?
Probably Fessy. I agree.
I think it's Fessy if you're like right up against the final, but if it's enough before, I can see where stealing from Fessy, like putting him back in the elimination circle. Like, you're not worried about Devin being on a vengeance tour against you. You'd be a little bit worried about Fessy.
But see, I would want to run the final against Devin. See, that's the thing.
No, I know.
Not
That's what I'm saying,
that
just right up
Devin's a bad competitor. It's just I have a better shot of beating him than I have beating Fessy. And we don't know that Fessy's going to be able to get thrown back in. Like, yeah, he's eligible, but if the politics are against him, he might not get another opportunity. So to me, you have to take that risk.
I think you just have to look. It's going to be very, very situation dependent.
So
I think it's going to play differently depending on the time.
We probably have 10 more episodes before the final. So there's
it's 19 episodes this season.
But we don't know if two of those are reunions or not.
They're reunions. I mean, I would put money on that they're reunions.
Both of them. But that would still be 17.
That's still 12 more episodes.
Yeah, but there's going to be 2 episodes for the final.
Oh, we don't know. That last season was only one. It wasn't even a full one.
Are you sure the second to last?
Yeah,
one?
Remember last season we were complaining so much because they're the first third of the episode was them at the club.
Yeah, you're right. Like, nothing happened in that final. That was a terrible final.
That's why it was only one episode. It wasn't a great final.
The entire winner of the season came down to one 10-minute segment.
Well, that and on the second day they cut out apparently a half day's worth of final.
Yeah, they had them play like the smack the bell and the elimination. It's all a disaster. It was terrible.
Where does that rank in all-time worst finals? That should be an episode we do.
That is a good episode. I
do like here's the top 4, here's the bottom 4 type thing.
I think that would be really easy.
That's in the bottom 4. Let's do the bottom 4 real quick.
We'd have to do a cutoff. Where are we cutting it off at?
What do you mean cutoff?
No, there's no cutoff.
The Inferno?
No, it's all in play.
It's all in play.
You have to hold it within context. I think it's Gauntlet 2 is by far the worst. What else?
Well, what about the island then? I mean, they just sail a boat.
Yeah, but that's like in the context, right?
Yeah, I would say it is not the worst final.
Vendettas is worse than that one.
Yes, for sure. I would say definitely Gauntlet 2 is the worst. I would put Battle of the Sexes 1 next. The one they ran on the beach. That was really bad. It was so bad.
Like, that's what I'm saying. A lot of those early ones are really like the first Battle of the Seasons one is pretty bad.
You can see like people at the beach resort sitting behind.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's bad. Like, if you put Battle of the Seasons in context, it's fine. Like, at least it was competitive and things were going on. Like, Battle of the Sexes 1 was a blowout.
Sexes 2?
Sexes 2 at least was interesting, and it kept with like a theme of like Rainbow Six.
And they need to go back to that. Have Mosey show up in the secret agent outfit.
That was funny.
Didn't they like jump out of a plane in that one too? Or am I thinking?
Yeah, they actually made them sleep overnight in like a bunker, and then they took them to a plane. And when they landed, their final started.
That they jump out of plane. How many finals have they jumped out of a plane? They can't do that.
At least 5 or 6, because it was Dirty 30, Battle of the Seasons 2012, Battle of the Sexes 2. So at least 3.
We need to give the producers of the challenge a hotline to us, so they can call us and be like, "Hey, so we're thinking about in the final doing a mission where they run it in the middle of the snow and jump up and try and ring a bell. What do you guys think?" And we can be like, what the fuck are you guys doing out there? No.
We should. The one thing we need to set up is have like, I don't know if a quiz show would be the best way to set about it. So some sort of function where it's like the three of us and maybe like Logan or somebody competing against
I've
four of
thought
the
about
producers.
that.
Yes, that's what we need.
Where there's a
Um,
trivia. You mean like a trivia one?
it could be trivia. It could also, I could think it could be trivia. It could also just be like
Doesn't he
what
already
they
do
think is a good idea versus what we think is a good idea.
that? Oh, I know what you're talking about. So they kind of do this. Rob has a podcast and does this for Survivor. They do it like once every few years. They don't do it very often. But Fishback and him will take in requests from listeners about ideas that they have for the show. And I think one of the last times that they did this, I think the first time that they did this, Samoa was about to happen, and then the last time they did it, they kept a theme. And so if your idea passed the snuff and it was something that they wanted to consider, I think I have this right, they would say, you're going to Samoa. And that would mean it's like a passing idea to consider to have on the show. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Something, I don't know. I was just coming up with the top of my head.
That's a good idea. I like it.
But
no,
unfortunately, we do not have that kind of pull.
Yeah. When I think of the worst finals, it really is like Gauntlet 2 and Battle of the Sexes 1. And I feel like the rest of them are they're fine. I hated Vendettas.
I was legit upset after the final. I was angry.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, after Vendettas, I was really pissed.
War of the Worlds 2, I thought was bad, and
I don't know.
It was definitely more.
I felt like it was fine. I felt like that was fine, actually. I didn't have a problem.
The weight
with
distribution was bad. How they structured the checkpoints was bad. And the 10-minute advantage is bad. They can't keep doing that.
I know, but they do that a lot on finals. What issue do you have with the weight distribution? Because everyone got it.
No, what was unfair was the U.S. team had extra weight for competitors that weren't still carrying that object that had the extra weight on it.
What do you mean? Explain.
So, like, both teams were restricted to exactly 4 people carrying. What was it? Like, what did they call it? I don't know. Whatever it was. But they added more weight on for each extra person, and also wasn't adjusted for the weight of that person. So they were in a huge disadvantage for having more women on their team who weighed less. And then also, all these people, there's more weight on their thing, and there's not any more people carrying it.
Well, they could all switch out more and take more rests.
Yeah,
I'm fine with
that. The checkpoints and switching out.
Fine with that, though.
I was not fine with that at all. I thought that was ludicrous.
So they could only have couldn't the people off to the sides carry stuff too?
They couldn't carry anything that was on that thing.
Couldn't they help carry?
They were restricted
at the same time?
4 at a time. But
remember what ended up happening was theirs broke at one point because CT rammed into it, and then it just broke apart. So then they just they gave up and took the penalty and split it all up.
Did it break then, or did it break later?
No, it broke pretty early.
Well, CT when that happened damaged it, and then it fell apart a while later.
The fact that it broke it all is also like that's some shoddy equipment they're dealing with.
Yeah, well, it was a bamboo friggin' deal. I mean,
I thought that was terrible.
We had the challenge where Julie dropped an F-bomb because he didn't know to put the clutch in and all that other random thing that fell apart and all that jazz. So that's a staple of the challenge is the thing falling apart.
I thought that was terrible. I thought that you have to give them an advantage for being able to keep more competitors on their team. They're already at a disadvantage because they're more likely to get purged out at the end. And then their team has been the one that's been winning the whole time, and then they're being hit with all this stuff.
Big T is definitely the MVP of the episode, right?
Oh, definitely.
No question.
Unquestionably.
And as someone who last year was very sad to have her on his fantasy team, it's like, man, this year she's doing good. She's got some screen time.
She hung around last year.
You'd have her again.
Got a bitch win.
I think I do have her again.
We forced her on. We felt like with the namesake there, you had to take her.
Well, I took her before the last round. There was opportunity for me to pass her by, and I looked at who was coming behind her with Amber B and stuff. I was like, I'll take Big T.
I think you got a steal there. I just wasn't refusing to take her on the principle. I thought you should have her, so I matched up.
There you go. I mean, I'm very happy with that because she's had a good season, and now she's paired with CT, and heck, she won a daily. So, man, between confessional, screen time, performance, I'm feeling really good about that late round pickup.
Yeah, for your last pick.
What do it looks like Fessy and Josh are fine at least now, right?
What do you mean fine? Between each other?
Yeah.
Have we seen them speaking with each other?
Well, yes, by the end of the episode they were speaking. Casey. Yeah.
Oh, Josh.
They were screaming at each other at the beginning of the episode.
They look fine. I thought for whatever reason, when you said Josh, I thought Kyle. But yeah, they look fine. I was actually about to say I thought it was really funny in the mission when Josh and CT are the last people left in the second heat.
Of course,
Josh tries to be like, CT, let go, you're good. Like he's not about to let go any moment.
And Josh is like,
Dude, that guy cracks
how
me
like
up.
stereotypical big brother are they going to get with him trying to cut a deal like Paulie and Natalie on the Final Reckoning final?
He, for his standards, he had a pretty quiet episode. He had the blow up with Fessy at the start of the episode, and then that confessional where CT tried to sew everyone, or excuse me, Casey tried to sew everyone back together between Fessy and Josh.
Yeah, he was more on the bench this episode, which is rare for him. Him and Devin are really shaping up to be like one of the all bark, no bite rivals teams of all time, though, right?
Josh and Devin, yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's funny because Devin's just such a constant antagonist. I think that's going to be the most meltdown of meltdown rivals teams.
Yeah, they're definitely partners on Rivals 4.
Yeah, well, it's two things I thought were funny with the mission too. They listed TJ as the handler, not the host. Did you see that?
They've done that all season.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the pickup on that before. Why? I thought that was odd.
Yeah, at the start of the season, he was TJ Lavin, their handler.
Oh, yeah. And then Allie Evans, Logan's co-host. So check out the Hedrick Files podcast for more of their insights. But she saw that Teresa actually had the tips of her feet on like the ledge.
Yes, I saw that too.
Yeah, like it wasn't enough where that was keeping her up by herself, but every little bit helps, I'm sure.
It was taking some of the weight off of Jay, her being able to touch the tip of the deal there.
What do you think Mosley would have done there?
He'd have blown the whistle and DQ'd her.
Mosley would have been like suspended off the side to make sure everybody was following the rules.
Wearing a flashlight, one of those like dad flashlight hats with it turned on.
He would have had Mosley suspended off of a drone, like hovering on some like. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like being held up by rope.
He would have had like a hoverboard.
You know, like if you're playing like Mario Kart and you like go off the edge of the map.
Oh, the cloud guy with the fish.
Back in, he would have been like hanging off that.
Do you think Mosley would have had one of those like 1920 pilot hats on too? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, like the leather strap hats.
Yeah, definitely.
Mosley has to be watching this season from his couch, like thinking of all the different spy gear he could have brought to the table.
No. This is what Mosley would be wearing the whole season. I've got it. All right, since it's a spy season, even though this person is not a spy, he would be dressed like Crockett from Miami Vice. White leisure suit, big glasses, and he'd wear like a fake mustache.
I don't think Mosley could bring himself to stay in the same suit for the entire season. I could definitely see him with like one of those Groucho Marx glasses though.
You know how when you go to baseball games, there are people that watch the game and keep score of the game.
Yes.
I don't think people do that for the challenge.
Mosley probably wants my job, doesn't he? It's like the fancy points tabulator.
I think the person that actually owns the website that you do that for is actually Mosley, and you just don't know it.
Oh my gosh!
If my boss is actually Johnny Mosley, that would be quite the surprise.
Side note: I was scrolling through the MTV Challenge Reddit earlier. Speaking of host, and they were showing Dave Mirra get shut down by the whole cast for a high five after they win the final on Inferno 2. I completely never noticed that before until someone put it on Reddit. And it's literally like Darrell and them are winning and they're all hugging and high-fiving. And like Mirra keeps putting his hands up for high five and the cast just looks at him and goes back to celebrating with each other. I was like, oh, what a burn.
With the Devin Tori thing, like, why did he pick her if he's just trying to ditch her constantly?
I don't know, dude. It doesn't make sense because now he's going to get he had his chance to get any partner that he wanted, and now he has nothing. It doesn't really make sense. I don't know. Like
I think it makes perfect sense at the moment.
Odd. It's like
it was almost like he was just doing it for
he's been partnered with her. Every single confessional is about how much he hates her, and then now about trying to get rid of her. Like, I mean, that couldn't be what they're showing. I mean, the show doesn't have the time to make everybody into a dynamic character when there's this many characters in this little airtime. But like, it was just weird.
He could have had Cam. He could have had Lolo. He could have had Casey. He could have had anyone he wanted. He could have had Anissa.
Because like now he's in a spot where, I mean, he could like if he could. Well, I'd have to think about it more so in terms of how it would end up working. Because if he's the rogue agent,
He's not eligible for elimination next week.
no, that's good for him. But doesn't that mean there has to be a guys elimination next week?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's safe for the next cycle. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. And the other thing that I think it is,
Why don't you think he's eligible for elimination next week?
because the rogue agents aren't eligible to be picked because they don't know ahead of time whether it's a guy or girl elimination.
It
And
was
since
weird
he's
that
the
him
rogue
picking
agent,
Nicole wasn't in the game.
Are
Right?
we
When he went up to
sure? Are we sure
Yeah,
that
they
that's a
haven't-
rule?
but see, when Nicole wasn't in the game, he wasn't a rogue agent. He was just a partnerless person who got called in. Whereas now, as the rogue agent, he is exempt from participating in the next challenge, and he is exempt from being picked.
He has to be exempt, or else they could just manipulate it where it has to constantly be one gender of elimination.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
You know who knows the answer to this?
Who? Mosley?
Mosley.
Yeah, I think you can't let them do that. That you just be manipulating it constantly. I just
I
think
agree.
but he's gonna get stuck with at least not the best partner, because hypothetically speaking, the other, like, he gets the last pick on that group, because whoever
The move
wins
was
the
to take
elimination
Cam, right? I think we're all in
I
agreement
think
about
take
that.
Cam.
The
I
only
think
reason
he's
that you
the
could
best
argue against taking Cam is eventually she's going to have to go in and get a skull,
Yeah.
and you put yourself at risk if they decide to do a swerve and both of you have to compete, or it's actually a guy's week when they thought it was a girl's week. Like, it's a risk if you have a skull, it almost behooves you to pick a partner that already has a skull,
Yeah,
because they are going to try to just stay out of elimination.
Because then you'd be similarly incentivized. But I think that does make sense. Because like now, Anissa and Fessy can just be like, look, we're going to keep our heads down as much as possible.
It looks like some of the women are starting to get the itch to go in. We saw CT make the agreement with Lolo that if Lolo thought that it would be something that she could win in an elimination, to give CT the signal and they would throw her in. We saw Cam say that it may be getting close to the time for her to go in. It definitely seems like some of the stronger women in the house, this is where their mind is starting to lean toward.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised Lolo would not have wanted to go against Anissa in this based on what they could see before the pick. I was a little surprised.
I was too. I thought that she might have gotten the head nod there.
Yeah, because I mean, no offense to Anissa, I have great affection for Anissa and her role is what she is on the show, but her endurance is questionable, and it just turned out Tori's technique to try to get those things to fall out of the dump truck contraption. She had like zero technique. She was trying to use her arms instead of momentum
with that. Like, I think, you need to get your legs into it too, but also I just think you need momentum as much as
it's
anything.
momentum, and Anissa got
Jordan,
it the
like, screaming
first
from the stands
try.
at her, apparently.
Say what?
I guess she needed Jordan screaming at her from the stands to get
apparently. But it's one of those things where I feel like Lolo would have known momentum and would have smoked Anissa if they'd gone one-on-one. But
I mean, Anissa did fine. I wouldn't. I would have. I mean, look, I would have picked Lolo in that matchup, but you never know.
I mean, and she did fine, but she almost lost too because Tori was only 2 behind her by the end.
That was crazy.
I feel like that's an elimination that we really needed Jeff Probst narrating. That's kind of the Survivor.
You need a constant narration on that one.
Where I agree. That was very much a Survivor game. What we saw.
One of the contestants really struggles. Jeff Probst tries to insert himself into the scene and motivate them to continue. They finally accomplish it, and then they almost come back and win.
Yep.
I do despise these eliminations where they have luck as a relatively significant factor of just if you throw it through the right square, then you get it. Whereas if you don't, then it doesn't work out.
I mean, I think there was some more skill there involved.
No, there was definitely skill involved. Like, this wasn't as bad as some of the other ones, but like they've gotten in the habit of doing these more seemingly lately. I would just prefer, look, just take them all. Just like you have to throw it through all of them and not through just the 13 you find.
Wait, so they could they just had to hit any 13, right?
No,
right, but there were only
blocked out.
13 of those that you could bust through.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's stupid. I don't like that at all. I agree.
Yeah, I hate that. Like, and they did the same thing with West versus Johnny last season, and Smashley versus D. Like, just almost any of those eliminations, you can do it in a manner where you don't have to have luck involved, but they just continually choose to do that, which I don't like at all.
Yeah.
Let's.
Were those medicine balls, by the way?
I don't know what they were. They seem pretty heavy, though. Do you think the lighter gray ones were a different weight than the darker gray?
Yeah, I think that they had different weighted medicine balls because Anissa kept going back and get the small one and kept heaving it instead of grabbing any of the big ones. So my assumption is they were pretty heavy medicine balls.
Do you really think that was the best technique to turn around and then throw it over the back of your head?
For the higher ones,
I think
yeah, because I think it's kind of difficult to get it up that high, kind of like over the head, like an over the head pass. I don't know.
Well, it depends on what kind of workouts you do. I do wall balls at my CrossFit gym all the time, and so I'm used to throwing a 20-pound medicine ball, 10 feet in the air. So for me, it's much better to almost shoot it like a basketball, go from a squat and push it up. But Anissa doesn't strike me as someone who does wall balls at home.
Do you think Big T is trying to angle to be on Survivor when she said that she wants her vote to be a blind side and then stares at the camera and then winks at Jeff Probst?
Yes.
I think, well, she's from Shipwrecked, which is like, to call it British Survivor is not accurate, but like British show on an island where politics are involved.
Have you ever watched it?
I mean, I've watched clips of it for like scouting purposes.
What's the premise?
Well, each season they're kind of weird. There's like two different teams, and then they switch back and forth between the teams, and the goal is to get as many people on your team as possible. So there's like a tiger island and a shark island or whatever, and then I don't know. It was somewhat of a hard premise to keep track of. It seemed a little overcomplicated.
There really isn't like I don't know. I could be wrong about this. What do you think like the third biggest reality competition show is? Or is there one right now?
After what?
Survivor and the Challenge?
I don't think those are the two biggest. I would think you would.
I think it would be Survivor and Big Brother.
I think Big Brother.
Yeah, I forgot about Big Brother.
Well, the Amazing Race still draws.
Well, Amazing Race does not have
those, like singing talent shows. Like
Amazing Race is
like a reality.
I feel like all the time. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, like would the Masked Singer fall under that bracket?
No,
I think that does decent rating.
That's a variety show. That is not a reality show in my opinion.
What's the most popular singing show right now? I don't even know.
Masked Singer is probably the most popular.
No, there's gotta be like the
Voice,
American Idol,
X
Factor.
Oh no, what's the one? The Voice. The Voice is the one my wife is obsessed with.
What is going on the Masked Singer? Like, what is the premise of this show? I see commercials for this and I have no idea.
Okay,
it's like they grab a bunch of random celebrities and dress them up.
D-list celebrities like Johnny Bananas would fit perfectly on this show.
But then they like Wayne Brady won one season, and then they dress them up, and then they do their song, and then the judges select the one who loses, and the one who loses has to be revealed as a celebrity, and then. Of course, it's like the athletes get funneled out first, and then they eventually work their way.
Like Rob Gronkowski was one of them last year.
Antonio Brown was one year, and that was before his public fallout, which did not sit well.
Tell me the situation has been on this.
No, but he's definitely in the casting pool.
He's definitely in the casting
show.
pool. Yeah.
The most shocking one. The most shocking one was Donnie Wahlberg was on it, which he's not. I wouldn't consider him a D-list because he stars on a primetime television show that I actually watch.
Who's the biggest celebrity they've ever gotten on it?
Mickey Rourke.
He's big, Academy Award winner, right?
But how long ago did Mickey Rourke win an Academy Award?
8 years ago.
It was a while ago. No, he got nominated for The Wrestler. He didn't
win for The Wrestler.
No, he should have won, but he was nominated.
Oh, that was such a good movie. What year was that?
2009.
I
think I may have seen that in theaters.
Okay, tell you from as the youth correspondent of the Challenge Chronicles podcast, I would say Raven Simone has a higher Q rating amongst my demographic than Mickey Rourke.
I would agree with that, but the show trends. The largest audience apparently is 40 and up. It's in the Dancing with the Stars demographic.
like Joey Fatone was on it. T-Pain was on it. T-Pain won the first season.
Yeah, Lil Wayne did it too, I think.
Was Lil Wayne on it? Yeah, Gronk was on season 3.
Because I watched last season's just because
Tony Hawk
it was
on it.
airing.
Man, Lil Wayne first out. Wow, that's a bad show.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, it wasn't good. I watched it last year because
Carey.
it premiered like at the start of the pandemic, and so it was one of the like few things on, and we're just stuck at home, and so I wound up watching it. I have not watched the new
Lil
season
Wayne
yet.
listened to Drew Carey and Tony Hawk. Barry Zito
Yeah.
finished 4th in that season 3. Yeah, the kangaroo from that season, Jordan Woods, who is listed as a socialite as her occupation. She does not have a Wikipedia page, which does not seem like what they're going for.
So yeah, so like I said, it's D-list celebrities. Now, but to answer your question, I think it's Survivor 1, Big Brother 2, and then I think you could make an argument for the challenge at 3, just because
I think The Voice is more popular than the challenge.
But see, I think that is a reality variety show. It's not like, I mean, it's a competition.
It's very different, but I think it's hard to.
I mean, if you throw The Voice in there, I would actually say The Voice is more popular than Survivor and Big Brother.
Yeah, The Voice I could say is number 1.
How many?
The day after The Voice airs, my social media feed is full, and it's like all the housewives and that kind of thing that watch that show.
Oh, The Bachelor too. What are we talking about? The
Bachelor. Oh gosh, yeah,
that would be probably number 1, right?
With a bullet.
Any Bachelor show is definitely
with a bullet. The Bachelor and Bachelorette.
People are screaming at their microphones right now.
Yeah, we're a bunch of dudes. I'm sorry, we don't really watch The Bachelor.
I don't know if I've seen more than 5 seconds. I don't know if I've ever seen like a.
I don't think I've ever watched a minute.
4 episodes of any Bachelor show I can get into. Bachelor in Paradise, I can get into it at any point. But it's not that great. First 4 episodes of Bachelor or Bachelorette are very entertaining because it's just.
Is it like the old VH1 shows?
Like the old what?
VH1 shows like Rock of Love and Flavor of Love. Is it like that?
Yeah, but like it takes Bachelor in Paradise is more in that vein. The real Bachelor Bachelorette definitely takes itself much more seriously as it goes on. The first 4 or so episodes,
there's a real budget on those shows.
And it depends who the cast is. Sometimes you'll get a decent, like, gimmicky cast when you have, like, the Chad or Corinne when they were on. That was great. But, I don't know. So a lot of times it's just, like, it just takes itself way too serious. And you can pick out the winner of those shows very easily, too.
All right, let's get slightly more on track. Let's talk about the most recent updates to the speculated cast for the OG season. I'll go over them quickly. So we have some updates since the last time we talked about this. For the women, Arissa Hill, Katie Doyle, Road Rules the Quest, Kellyanne Judd, Real World Sydney, Ruthie, Real World Hawaii, Trishelle, Real World Las Vegas. Then we have Ace, Real World Paris, Brad, San Diego, Derek, Road Rules Extreme, Big Easy, Fresh Meat, Mark Long, First Adventure,
Shocker,
Cyrus, Boston, and Yes Duffy, Semester at Sea.
I think Yes is the most surprising name on that list.
Yeah.
Yes is definitely the most surprising. But I also think the weird thing overall, I feel like a lot of these cast members come from different like points in the show. I'm not even sure how much of a relationship they have with each other. And it seemed like something like this, it's supposed to be sort of in like a reunion, like we're getting the band back together sense that I think would be lost with a lot of these people.
Yeah, I think Brad and Derek fit that mold. Big Easy to me is the standout of like, why is he on this show?
I mean, we know why he's on, but like,
I know why, but
I would definitely prefer a lot of people over his spot.
Do you think they're struggling to get people to come on and commit?
No, I don't.
Why is Yes on the show then?
Because he's a real OG. Like, he's the OG of an OG. He is the very definition of an OG on the show.
Why is who?
Timmy not in that spot.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it.
He could be, though. They haven't been able to confirm yay or nay whether he'll be on it.
There's only there's 12 people total, 6 and 6. That's not even 12. It's
don't we have like 2 weeks left before they have to start
the filming starts early February, from what I've heard. The start date is like the 1st or 2nd week of February.
And they go into quarantine late this month?
Like right now. Like sometime in the next few days, they're in quarantine.
I don't know. I have no clue what to expect with this. Like, I feel like you guys always talk like you have such concrete ideas of like how this is going to play out. I have absolutely no clue.
What do you mean?
I mean, I have rumor speculation, so I'm confident in the rumor speculation, but what we actually get, I don't know.
Well, in terms of cast and also like format, or the two, like I just have no clue.
I mean, I don't know.
See, from the cast standpoint, there is a huge wide net they can cast for this show, because I feel like what they have to have is they have to have a few recognizable, somewhat recent names, which is why I get Brad, Derek, blah 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 blah. That makes sense to me. The one that really doesn't make sense to me is Big Easy, because yeah, you could technically call him an OG because he was fresh meat. He hasn't been on the show now in 8 years, believe it or not. It's been 8 years since we've seen Big Easy. So like, it makes sense. I just don't necessarily want to see Big Easy again.
Was Adam Larson on this list last time we talked about this?
No,
he's on the speculated list. He's not been confirmed or denied.
He's never been pushed up to like the more positive bracket. I think this woman.
He is now. He's in the up in the air now.
The woman's cast to me is where I think they need. Well, they only have 5 of them, so it's gonna be more. None of the people they have there are bad. I think Coral, like we talked before, she to me is the tier 1.
Yeah,
needs to be on this cast.
Coral and Beth are like 1A and 1B.
Julie,
then
too.
I think like a Julie should really be on this.
So in the same way that
Veronica somewhat up there as well.
They don't have any heavy hitters, and that's I feel like
that's what it is.
To transition back into this season. This season has had a lot of like good to really good episodes. It doesn't have any of those like Tony Vlachos episodes from like last year of Survivor,
we'll
like that
one.
Tony episode.
We'll get one.
It doesn't
the
have
one
like
where
that
Tony pitched the perfect game.
It doesn't, or the one where Rob, what was the episode from Total Madness last year where like just chaos ensued for 90 minutes? What happened again?
There was the episode where that like bear blew the fire.
Yeah.
And Ashley and Maddie had like a 2-second alliance where they have an alliance, and the next scene later, it crumbles, and then Ashley loses to Dean elimination that episode and is like screaming at Wes on the way out. But like, or like the season before, my God, the Benedict Laurel episode where the US team like screams at each other. Like, dude, that's like there's a few. This is one reason why I do enjoy the show so much. For me, every season has at least one episode where you have like you're just locked in. There's like an adrenaline to the episode that it's not equitable to anything else on TV. And like, I'm confident we'll get one this season. We'll get at least one episode right.
It might be next week.
For Survivor, those really start to happen after the merge, like after the merge. And most of the time it happens, they'll have a random back-to-back 2-hour episode at some point late in the season. And they normally, I feel like I could be wrong about this, but it seems like they try and like group those together when they know there's going to be a ton of action going on. So I think
Survivor is not like the challenge. Legitimately, I think you can go through every season and pick out at least one episode where it's just like everybody agrees that it's
a great episode.
Yeah, there's an adrenaline to it that's just different.
I don't know.
Survivor, I don't think it's consistent like that.
I don't know. I think there's one per season, but I think that just comes. I think that just speaks to kind of like my enjoyment of Survivor compared to yours. You know what I mean?
Perhaps, but I think like a season like Philippines, which I watched somewhat recently, it wasn't even a bad season, but it never had like that episode like that.
I know what you mean. So do you think there's one in every single season? Do you think there's one in every single
down episode by episode as much as I do the challenge?
So do you think there's one in every single season of the challenge?
Yes.
I mean, over the past few seasons, I would say. I would be going back a little bit farther than that. A bit different.
I would say that every single season had one of those type of episodes, and I feel like you even go back to what's the season we hate? Battle of the Sexes 1. The episode with Puck and the machete and all that stuff is just so. It's not like an adrenaline, like oh my gosh, this is insane.
I was thinking more about recent seasons. I think going back that far, it becomes. Maybe a season like Rivals 3, if I looked at it, would be harder to pick that out.
There's one... No. See, having rewatched Rivals 3 recently, that one episode where Amanda loses her mind and there's just 40 minutes of people screaming at each other and Nelson trying to calm Amanda down, it's a great episode.
The episode where Camilla and Tony get into a fight's like scary from that season.
That one is
like
scary.
Battle of the Bloodlines has like the episode where Abram's brother goes up against Stephen Thomas's brother, and like that's a crazy episode.
Yeah, and then just the whole fight about the congratulations, your dad has a bakery.
Yeah,
that's
the first
the
two
most
episodes
bizarre. The first couple episodes of Bloodlines are really good.
And then like X's 2 there's a few episodes in X's 2 I would say, but like the episode where like Naya starts gets into the screaming play with Nani is sort of up there. Free Agents has like a 4-episode stretch almost that fits that bill.
The episode where Bananas comes back is one of those types of episodes because the look of just utter defeat on Wes's face is priceless. Like him, when they found out that there was a separate game going on, Wes's face turned because he knew it was Bananas coming back before it happened. Like he knew it. And when it happened, it was priceless.
That's one of those things, if you're him too, like you're thinking to yourself, I can't believe this is fucking happening right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably one of those things that they've like thought about that in the back of their heads. You know what I mean? I'm sure Wes has thought of that. You know, like I'm sure that wasn't like it's occurred to him that they could do it.
That has to come up.
Yeah, it's occurred to him that they could do it, but it's another thing for it to be happening right then. And the person that it affects most on the entire show is you and what's going to happen to your future.
Well, it's the only person that it affected negatively too. Even Teresa was allowed to come back. Poor Wes is the only one.
Teresa got to run the final with Leroy, which is like, dang.
Leroy.
Quite frankly, I think she and Leroy were probably better physically matched for the final than her and Wes were.
Oh no, I think her and Wes win that final. There was so much swimming in that final.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that part of it.
And like Leroy's not like. He was actually pretty good on the War of the Worlds 2 final. I think he really kept the U.S. team together as much as they could have been kept together the first part of it. But he struggled in other finals.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like it's fair to say like there, especially like the first season that I think back on that doesn't like have one of those episodes that just is straight fire to me is Cutthroat. Like Cutthroat's a solid season.
The episode where CT comes in.
Yeah.
Oh God, sorry. With the backpack. How do you leave that out?
No, that's a complete episode too, because you have that part of it. Also in that episode is the mission where Derek. It's like the Riot Shield mission.
Oh yeah, the Riot Shield thing, the King of the Mountain.
It's also the episode where Sarah and Laurel plot with the blue team to try to throw the mission so they could get Kara put it in and Abram like sniffs it out. That's a really good episode. That definitely
Never mind. I was completely wrong. I had forgotten about that. So yeah, even then going back further, I mean, Ruins has good stuff. Fresh Meat 2, there's 3 really good episodes on Fresh Meat 2.
There's a lot of good Fresh Meat 2. All right, let's get back to the season a little. So what do we think happens for the men next week? Under the pretense that it's a men's elimination day, do we think someone's
hard to say who's on the topic block? It seems like these politics just keep shifting so much with people switching teams constantly.
Yeah, I feel like there are some people that we can point out and say that they're in a good spot, and some other people that are in a less good spot. Leo is pretty much invisible, and it seems like he's doing a great job at this point.
He's especially on the guys' side. Like the guys seem to have. Like the woman, this episode, clearly there was more of a divide between like Torian and Issa specifically, and then the itty bitty little committee or whatever they call themselves. But with the guys, it seems like it's moving around a little bit more, and there's like the big brother people kind of on an island, and then Leroy, who has like some ties to Darrell and Corey, and then Devin and Kyle are kind of off by themselves. So there's a little bit more fissures there. And like Leo, Michi, and Nam just haven't even been brought up yet.
Did Michi even get a piece of a camera this episode? Because like
professional.
He did.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
He was also one of the people that was sitting out in the lawn chairs when Josh and Corey started to go at it, and then, Fessy and Corey started to go at it, and then Josh, of course, inserted himself into the situation as well.
Imagine
I thought it was
Josh
hilarious how Fessy called Josh out and said that Josh didn't actually want to go in.
Because that's the rumor. Like, that's the
That's what
thing is
Tori
like
said,
somebody
too.
was saying, like Corey was saying before last episode that on camera he was all like working himself up to go in, but behind the scenes he was doing everything he could to not go in.
Can you guys at least acknowledge that the show would be less entertaining without Josh on it?
I'll give it that.
Well, it's hard to say what they would be airing if Josh wasn't on it. Like, it's not like I enjoy his content a ton.
Really? I don't know, dude. Like
It depends on the situation with him, but for the most part, I would prefer them to devote time to other stuff.
Well, I know, but they're not gonna devote it to the stuff that we would want to have it devoted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what that screen time would go to necessarily. Otherwise, this season I have.
He makes the show entertaining.
I really did not enjoy him being around, but other seasons he's been fine.
He's at least going to get in there and like shake it up, at the very least.
No, he's not going to shake it up.
What do you mean? That's exactly what he did, even with his like 3 minutes of airtime this episode with Fessy.
I don't think what he does though affects the game. I think
I'm not talking about like that. I'm not talking about affecting the game. I'm just talking about the social dynamics around him.
Okay, yeah, he definitely shakes up the social dynamics. That is like, for sure.
People are going to be aware that his presence is there.
The cameraman certainly will be, at least.
All right, we need to have a show as part of this. We need to bring on a guest who really is into Big Brother, and he or she needs to come on here and try to explain how the hell this guy won Big Brother.
I asked this on Reddit a few days ago.
We should ask my friend that I have. I sent another message to him last week because I sent him a message and I listed out all the people that are on this season from Big Brother, and I said, knowing as much as you know about Big Brother and what little you know about the challenge, who do you think would do the best out of these people? And guess who he said?
I would say he's going to say Amber.
No.
Casey?
No.
I don't know.
Lolo.
I didn't know she was included.
Oh, that's right, because she was on Big Brother. Okay.
Yeah, well, she was Celebrity Big Brother. I wasn't aware that was in the fold.
And then I still need to respond to him because he responded to me.
Over Casey? That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we could have him on and talk to him. He would probably be a good resource.
I just want to understand. I posted it a few days ago. It's just like he was paired with Russell Hans, basically, at the end.
How did he get there, though?
Because Russell Hans thought he'd be easy to beat because he's banging pots and pans around everybody.
God. I want to see Russell Hans on the challenge now that you've said that. I want to see
stuff like that. I want to see Tony on the challenge.
See, maybe that's what the OGs thing should be. They can have challenge people versus like random old people from
Battle of the Network Stars kind of thing of like the OGs.
Yeah, but like that's how you get great. Like if you want like big names from other reality shows that aren't in challenge shape, that's how you do it.
You could have. Wow, I'm all in on this cast. By the way, thinking about that, I need Katie Doyle, Coral. And I need Russell Hans all battling for a win.
God. Wait, so how many? You don't think Tony would do well on this? How many people on the cast?
Dude, he's nowhere close to the shape that you would need to be to be on this. How old is he?
Early 50s. So on the people that started, on the people that started the season for the men, he would still not be the worst person physically.
Yeah, he would.
No, he wouldn't. He's better than fucking Joseph Allen, dude. He's better than Joseph Allen.
How old is Joseph Allen? Joseph Allen's like in his mid-20s? Are you kidding me? Tony is in his 50s.
He'd be able to whoop his ass, dude.
Oh,
I don't think Tony could win a final, but he could get far in the game. I think that is possible.
I think he could get carried a little bit. I think he would be unbelievably out of his element.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think
but he's also a double $1 million. He's won $2 million on Survivor. I just don't really feel like he would do the show.
$3 million. Oh yeah, he won $3 million. I forgot.
I forgot he has won $3 million. Shoot.
There's no way Tony. If Tony was on that would not work out well for Tony.
I mean, he's got $3 million. So how bad could it be?
Well,
but
after
I'm saying,
taxes,
like,
it's
he
about
would, like, there's no
750.
way he would be able to beat anybody in anything.
Yeah,
I
I
know
think Tony
47.
is in great shape for a 50-year-old, okay?
Yeah.
He's in phenomenal shape for someone his age. The problem is that on Survivor, you can get away with strictly a social and political game and win the show. Like the challenge at some point, you have to be physical.
I think he could probably he can probably beat Michi and Leo in an elimination too.
I don't know about Leo, man. I think you're underestimating Leo.
I don't.
I don't think he's going to win. I don't think he's going to win the show, but he's a pro wrestler.
Dude,
He
he would be like
picks up
throwing his
dudes.
back out on that elimination they just did.
Trace, are you ready to make a bet on Leo? Who do you want?
Who would you be taking him against?
I see. All right. So, what is the bet?
Who
lasts longer, Leo
who lasts
or
longer in the
person
game,
X?
Leo or someone else? Who will you give me? What are the people that you will give me? So, like, where does Leo fall in the pecking order? Because it could be that we're just saying the same thing. You know what I mean? It could be that we like have him calibrated around the same area, and it's just.
I put him. He would beat Michi.
Yep.
I would put him. All right, hold on. I got to look at the rest of the cast.
I
would
we're
put
probably
him
saying the same thing because you and I are normally pretty aligned on that.
I would pick him over Devin, depending on the elimination. I feel like it's closer if it's a puzzle for Devin, but if it's physical, Leo's got Devin. I even think, depending on what the game is, he could beat Josh.
I think he could beat Josh.
Depending on what it is.
But if
Josh has not shown any level of competence in elimination.
Exactly. Josh is yet to win an elimination. So until Josh actually wins an elimination, I just, it's hard to. A blind squirrel can find a nut, but it's still a tall order for me to pick Josh in an elimination. It would have to be a certain elimination with the right person.
The day that Josh wins an elimination, it's going to be like Game 7 of the finals. Euphoria.
You know what'll happen is I'll crack open a bottle of bourbon and be drunk by the end of the episode.
It's going to be Steven for Battle of the Seasons.
You think? You think Big T
was on get the inner council together?
You think Big T was on cloud 9 this episode? Wait till you see Josh win an elimination.
Dude, he would be like a rooster with his chest poked out and talking around. He would be like walking around with a drink like he's 7-time champ Johnny Bananas. Like, oh my God, the episode after he wins an elimination will just be a shit show.
What are the odds on him obtaining a skull this season at some point?
A skull?
He actually has to go into elimination to do that. It's just, God.
There's some people that I would take him over.
I would take him over Michi right now.
Yeah, I would take him. So, like, on average, I would probably take him over Michi, Leo. Who would you take between him and Devin?
I think Devin's just so much craftier than Josh. Like, Devin's beaten Wes and Johnny in elimination. Like, and I mean, obviously, those aren't eliminations are physical.
He's also shit the bed in elimination too. So Devin? You know, he's had some good. Yeah.
What was his worst elimination performance?
The Battle of the X's.
He wasn't around Battle of the X's.
Battle of the X's too. He was.
Devin?
Yes.
No, he wasn't. His first season was Rivals 3.
Was it Rivals 3? Well, he did not have a good. He got eliminated, then brought back in the game, and was.
But that was not his fault at all. Cheyenne was horrific in that elimination.
She was, but
that was not his fault at all.
He could not carry a partner. He can't carry a partner.
Dude, no, okay, sure, but he wouldn't be with a partner in any of these eliminations.
Fair.
Hypothetical, we know maybe there would be a partner's elimination at some point.
Who did he lose to in Vendettas?
He gets purged out in Vendettas. He's been purged out a lot. He's gotten purged out in Vendettas. He was purged out on 30-30. Final Reckoning, he just Corey, slammed into the ground, so he's gone.
Yeah. Huh.
So I think I think I would take Devin over Josh. Josh's best elimination performance so far is when he was with Amanda on War of the Worlds 1, and they got kind of gypped by production when they were working their way up with that pole.
Yeah, I think I would take Devin too, probably, now that we've talked it through. But I definitely think they're in the same area. Don't you?
They're in the same bracket. Like Leo, Devin, Josh are all floating in the same bracket.
And like, look, we don't know what's going to come up here, but I really think that they're going to go a little bit away from the headbangers for the guys. We'll probably get balls in, I imagine, but then we'll probably get some more of these like.
I think the last
physical
one is going to be
eliminations, but
X Battle.
you're not contact.
I think you're going to get an X Battle at some point.
But they don't usually do X Battle and pole wrestle.
Well, they'll do either war is what I mean. Like it'll be pole wrestle or X Battle.
Well, I guess it wasn't pole wrestle because it was like with the ring, so we would still be in line for pole wrestle. I think we will get some more of the like again physical eliminations that are definitely very physical, but not contact like this one was.
All right, let's do the power rankings really quick.
Losing
wow, we have to pull Natalie out of this, don't we? Now
kill me. It kills me. Oh, so upset about that.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that much. We talked about it before, or did we talk about it that much? We talked about it before a little bit.
We need to know what it was. If people want to get more information on that, there was a U.S. Weekly article released detailing Natalie and the unfortunate fact she was pregnant on the show and then suffered a miscarriage when she got back.
Yeah, definitely really sad.
Yeah, and we do want to highlight that the article is very specific that the miscarriage was not caused by the show. She went home and got an ultrasound, and at the time of the ultrasound, the baby was very healthy, and unfortunately, a couple weeks later, it was not. But so it wasn't a situation where being on the show hurt her pregnancy. The doctor did not think it played a factor whatsoever. So we want to keep that in mind when people talk about this.
Did Melissa have her kid yet?
Yeah, it's like a year old now, dude.
Yeah, it's wild. A while, man.
All right. I can go. I guess I can go first because I always go last. And give you guys some time. So for the men, I'm going to keep mine the same. I don't know. I still kind of want to put Nam ahead of Fessy. Just because fundamentally, it wouldn't make sense to have Nam behind Fessy for me because I think Nam would beat Fessy in a final. So yeah, I don't know why I did that last week. So I'm going to.
Well, if Fessy has a skull, Nam doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm out on Nam after this episode. Like completely out.
Completely out. All right. Well, here, hold up. I'm going to go Fessy, Nam, Darrell. All right, let's talk. Yeah, I was honestly a little like that's one that Nam needed to win for me. Like he needed to that was his elimination.
Weighs a lot more than Teresa does. And
yeah, that's true. You said Lola weighs a lot more?
Yeah.
I would imagine she weighs a decent amount more than Teresa.
Yeah.
She's tall, man.
Muscle weighs, I mean, Teresa's short. Like she's not
Teresa's
tall.
not that short, but Lolo's tall for
Lolo is like almost my size.
Yeah, Lolo's tall for a girl on the show. I think that probably played. I mean, he showed.
He did good. He did good.
He's big enough. Yeah, he should have.
I just don't think he has the mental attitude to win.
What do you just like? He just edge, seems, man. That I just don't think he has.
He just looks like a big, giant goof, and that's fine. He looks like a fun dude, but like he just comes across like he doesn't care that he's there. Like he just he doesn't.
You saw with Jenny, like she needed an edge, and she didn't have it her first time, and she got it around her second time. There's an edge you need for like physical contact that you just don't have naturally. Or like you know, not everybody's born with that. Like you just need to show you have that.
I don't know. I think he's going to be fine. I think a lot of that is kind of like how he's building relationships with people in the house.
I don't know. So this is one of those areas where I rarely do this, but like I'm not on the same page with you. I'm with Rob. Like I just don't think he's got it. The way that he is carrying himself.
Who do you want?
Pick Dude, there's like 7 people I would take over him right now.
Give me the 7.
Darrell, CT. I would take Fessy. I would take Corey right now. I would take.
That's the one. That's the one I want. Right there.
That he is
$5. You ready to do this?
All right, for $5, Corey lasts longer than Nam.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have a Trace Devins bet page on our.
No, I usually stay out of a lot of these unless I feel really good about it. After tonight's episode, I'm completely out on him. Like just completely.
That wasn't enough for me to completely out. I still think he can be fine. I don't see him winning at all.
I feel like if he was winning, I mean, I know they don't edit the show like they do Survivor, but at least on the challenge, when you go back after the season's over, you can kind of look at someone's edit and go, okay, they might not have had a lot of stories, but they were narrating some stuff and confessions. like the dude, obviously because of his language barrier, isn't doing a whole lot of narrating, and then he's not involved in like anything politically. They don't even show who he votes for when they go in the chamber.
So they sound him a few times. I mean, look, a lot of these people we don't have any clue. I think if
Yeah.
Turbo, they worked into episodes a lot. If you go back,
Yes,
Really?
in hindsight, yes,
Oh,
he got
yeah.
a lot
That's-
more
go
like
back and-
random.
That's the biggest
confessionals.
example for me of them specifically editing around somebody who ended
We're
up winning.
also still pretty early into the season, though. This is still episode
Yeah.
5. There's still a lot of people
Well, yeah,
around.
but even at the beginning, they're gonna like not want them to be such like you don't even know who they are.
I think he's going to be fine.
I can't see him winning. I would be stunned by him winning.
All of our bets that we made around Nam and Lolo are resolved except for one out of the 6 that we had.
Well, yeah, I
Logan?
had Cam. I definitely have Cam money in there somewhere, don't I?
Not that I'm aware of.
What? Oh my gosh!
I think there was a bet on Cam over Lolo somewhere.
No, I don't think I accepted that at the time.
Oh my god! I'm gonna go back and re-listen to our episodes, and I definitely had
Do it.
Cam versus Lolo.
Because I monitor this religiously.
He does. I feel
Can we
like
add
Devin is a
Cam versus
bookie in
Lolo
another
bet if
life.
there's not one present?
I'll think about it.
Yeah, but no, like I will give you that official. I think Corey lasts longer than Nam. I'm in on that for $5.
I just don't have any faith in Corey. Like that ship has sailed for me.
He was good last season.
He can't do anything in the final though.
Doesn't matter. I don't think Nam makes the final.
Getting there, like I just have a really.
You want Corey too, Rob? You want to?
No, I don't want Corey.
Okay.
Rob lost a lot of money today. Okay.
Yeah, this was a rough day.
I guess we gotta just to catch the crowd up. So out of the bets that we had Rob and I had a Nam versus Nelson bet, which was resolved last week. We had a Nam versus Nelson Hall brawl, which was a push. We had a Lolo versus Tori in overall placing, which was resolved this week. And then we had a Lolo versus Natalie in overall placing, which was resolved this week. And we decided that was not within the spirit of the bet. And so
Devin was very gracious in that one. I was very thankful.
that is a push as well. And so the only one that Rob and I have left is Nam versus Darrell in overall placing. Challenge, though.
I think Rob's going to win that one.
TT or Leroy.
See, that's the thing, though. Like, I think those people are like generally in the same area. You know what I mean? But
CT Leroy.
Yeah, but Corey and Nam, I don't think that's close. You know, like I just don't think I've never really been that impressed with Corey. Tori,
I shouldn't have made a Tori, but I was just trying to find action on Lolo.
I know you were. I know you were.
I can't believe we don't have a Cam. We definitely had a Cam versus Lolo, but I'm going to go back and
listen. Rob, the moment these are solid, I put these in here.
The whole thing this whole season has been pro Cam.
I think she's going to do well too. I just don't think she's going to win in the final. Like, I think she's probably going to get to the final. She's going to be one of the last women left. I just think there's probably going to be some other woman that beats her in the final. And then we have some other.
I don't know, man. The rate this is going, it could be Cam, Anissa versus Amber B in the final.
I think Amber B's good.
I think she's better than we've been giving her credit for.
That's
she's
the Big
small,
Brother one, right?
Feisty. Yeah, she's feisty.
That's Amber Big Brother.
Yeah,
I'm even in on Amber X on the Beach too.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
all
in on her.
Amber.
Are you the one, Amber? I can't keep all these shows straight anymore. I'm old, people.
All right.
So anyway, finish your power ranking.
You were doing the woman.
I'm just gonna put in Cam instead of Natalie. So I'm gonna go Lolo, Casey, Cam, and for the overall, I'm going to keep it the same, and I'm going to go Fetzy, Lolo, Nam. And who's up next?
I'll go. All right, so on the male side, this one's still easy for me. I still think it's Darrell CT, but I think the third slot, as much as it pains me, Fessy. So Darrell, CT, Fessy. On the female side, gosh, this is all shaken up now. All right, I think I just have to take a shot in the dark here. I'm going to go Casey 1. I'm going to go...
Devin, would you maybe Ashley versus Lolo?
Oh, I forgot Ashley's in play again. Ashley's 2, easily now. Okay, Casey, Ashley, and then I will put Cam 3.
Would you bet me Ashley versus Lolo, Devin?
I'd have to think about it, but I think we agreed earlier that she's in a really good spot. So I'd have to think about that. I think
First out and back in.
yeah, she's not on anyone's radar right now.
Dude, can you imagine if she wins and she's got 3 wins now? 1 with the Invasion Weird setup, the second one, her and Hunter to come in as mercenaries, the third one, she comes back after being eliminated.
All 3 asterisks.
Golly,
I think
3
the
wins,
first one
3
has an
asterisks, but
asterisk
she'll
on
have
that
$3
one.
million. So, you know.
Look, every win on the challenge is created differently. To have an asterisk on any of them is...
Her and Tony Lockhart.
It's hard. Sometimes you just got to be lucky rather than good. And on Final Reckoning, she was very lucky.
How much money does she have overall? How much did she win for
Invasion? I think she won like what, $250K?
Was it that much money? I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't. It was like she and CT both won like $150K, maybe.
That's
She
awful.
won more than CT did because her team had more in their.
Oh, that's right, and they had the bank accounts that year too. So
She's got 1,121,250.
Yeah,
120,000. She only won $120,000 for that.
Dude, pre-Dirty 30, these people didn't make much money for winning this show.
All right, who's your overall?
Overall, I still think that I'm... I got to drop somebody out of that because I don't know that I like Fessy as my number 3. So I would still say Darrell CT 1, 2, and I probably have to put Casey 3. Like, I just think she is in... If she can get her skull, she is going to be in a very good position politically.
Yeah.
She's not making any waves with this cast, even though she's in the Big Brother Alliance. And now that she's got Fessy away from her as her partner again, and she's back to Leroy, she's in a better place. So
it's funny how much her and Leroy seem to want to go back to each other after they had been.
I can't blame either one of them for that.
They just play really similarly, where they just don't want to be involved, like as a face at all.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel really good about that. I mean, I think, that's the top 3.
If this was like a traditional pair season where they weren't able to switch, and we knew that these pairs would last throughout the entire course of the season, that would be one of the favorites. Yeah,
it would have been a completely different ranking. Yeah, but I would have also had CT Ashley as one of my favorites.
I would have had West Natalie as the favorite.
Oh my gosh!
I would say I'll have for the men. I'll do Darrell, CT, Leroy.
So the same.
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay.
Man, this really hurts your female side now.
I'll have Cam. I'll put Ashley 2. I'll Cam 1, Ashley 2, and then I'll just keep it Teresa at 3.
Okay.
Casey, I just have a hard time seeing her winning for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, but she's going to make the final, Rob. Like, she's going to be there.
A mental block with her rights cancer. It was like I've had this with other people too, where I just have a hard time.
What kind of odds would you give me on her making the final?
What was that?
What would you give me on her making the final?
50-50, maybe a little bit more in her favor.
Yeah, I would have said plus 120 is a great odd.
I would have. For me, it would have it may be odds on for her to make the final.
I honestly would probably take that.
Odds on?
I would have to think about it, but like I think she's going to make it.
I think she is too. I just look at who's left and the way the politics.
Her partner
we've got a long way to go though. But I still think that with 4 gold female skulls, with 4 gold skulls still out there, it seems to me that if you were to say of who's left, who are 2 people on the female side that you would consider a lock to get a skull, and I would have to put Casey on that, list of people. I feel like she's a lock to get one at some point. Because she'll go against like an Amber B or somebody. Not that I think Amber B's pretty decent, but I just don't know what
we
she's
haven't
going
seen
to
Amber
do.
B do a ton yet at all. Like I think we're doing a lot of projecting there. I'll move Darrell to number 1 above Cam. I just think he's by far the most well-rounded competitor on the guy side. Then I'll do Cam 2, and I'll go Ashley 3.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about before we wrap this up?
I screwed up and forgot to pick our winner for the iTunes thing, so I promise we'll get to it next week, everybody. You can send me your hate mail to thechallengechronicles@gmail.com today.
I have a listener's message to discuss.
All right, let's do it.
Sweet. Let's do that.
So this is from No Quitters Pod Stat Boy. I guess he's moved to messaging me over Trace now. I'm happy to have hopped him in the pecking order. He says, do you think something needs to be done different aesthetically with the show? He had a first-time viewer watched it with him this past week. The Daily made him never wanted to watch the show again, for one. But then also they just noticed that
was a pretty bad daily.
It was very bad. That it was very tense, dreary, and dark, and like with COVID things come into play, but maybe the set design should be a little brighter.
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely need to get back to a tropical place. I was actually kind of surprised that they went to another cold weather setting after last.
Iceland was the only country that would let them in.
They were just
That's why they went there.
They couldn't go to Mexico?
No.
Oh.
Why couldn't they go to Mexico?
There's way too. Mexico is so hard to plan around.
Why?
Yeah, the difference is Mexico had a ton of positive cases, whereas Iceland had next to none and was willing to work with them. It cost a lot of money, but they were willing to work with them to get the season done.
There's a lot more that could go wrong with Mexico.
Totally understandable. Totally understandable when you frame it like that. So what other warm weather place has its shit together with COVID?
Nowhere.
That would actually let you in? Yeah, probably not. Because
New Zealand.
I mean, and this isn't me disparaging.
Well, most of the places that have it together wouldn't let them in, which is
I know that's what I mean. Like New Zealand and Australia,
New Zealand is not letting them in. They closed their airport. You can't get in if you're a citizen of New Zealand. There is literally, if you were a New Zealand native and you were away when the pandemic happened, you still can't get home.
I think they could. It doesn't have to be like a tropical place, and then they could be fine. I think. I'm curious if we look back. What's the split between what we would deem cold weather versus warm weather seasons? I don't even know if that's as much what it is, though. Like they're in like a cave to shoot the eliminations, which looks cool, but it's pretty dark.
I mean, they couldn't have done like Southern California, or they couldn't have done Hawaii.
I don't think they want to do that.
Yeah,
I think, but again, I don't even know if it's location as much as like set design and stuff along those lines.
This will sound really stupid to this person, but if you think about it, aside from the daily challenge, I think these people mostly just work out and sleep during the daytime. And so all of the conflict, the politics, the stuff that happens is usually at night. And that includes the elimination, the bar stuff, which is included in every episode.
That feels like it's stuff. It's all purple when you're watching and you're like, that's very hard.
Yeah, so like I think a lot of it just has to do is like the events that are interesting to put on TV that are not the daily challenge tend to happen at night, because during the day, like I said, I think they just sleep and work out. Like there's not a whole lot going on if they're not filming a daily or they're not filming a vote.
I would prefer a warmer weather environment, generally speaking. Like I think like maybe for World of Worlds 1 was a really cool environment to shoot the show in. But I think more than that, it's like look, with the show, there's like a few different things that I would say bring entertainment value. There's like the competition, the drama, the politics off the top easily. There's like the comedic moments that pop up every now and then there's like the flash moments. And these past 2 seasons specifically have been very, very heavy on the flash, which isn't really why I want to watch the show. And that also makes it kind of that I think that plays into it as well, where it might look cool, but it can also give like a more darker sort of dreary tone.
I think something that I thought about last episode is I think they could definitely change up the camera angles that they film for the eliminations and film it like more like an actual sporting event. I feel like when they do Hall Brawl, we never get a good angle on the collision.
Last season was ridiculous with the Nelson Rogan one.
That one was shot really poorly.
They need to. I would definitely prefer that too if we just get like a cleaner look of what's going on.
And more like an aerial view. wider angle. I think they could benefit a lot from that.
Because to me, the best hall brawl we've ever had was Zach and CJ from Battle of the Seasons. Besides just the competitive standpoint of it, it was shot really well, and you could tell what was happening. They didn't do like they're about to collide. Let's cut away and show them about to collide again. Now let's cut again.
One, legitimately, they like cut back and forth to it 3 or 4 separate times. It's insane. Like I much prefer like an ESPN Monday Night Football. Like let's just see what's going on versus NFL Films cinematic shots. But that's what they've been doing.
And I will say this, though, that style of editing that's not competition based works in certain eliminations, but stuff like Hall Brawl, X Battle, like you need a more sports presentation.
I'd be curious if we asked like a non-sports type person what their thoughts would be about that.
That watches the challenge?
Yeah. Because like people come from a lot of different backgrounds that watch the show. There's a lot of people who come from more of like a standard reality TV background and are watching football every Sunday, and I'm curious, or watching basketball or whatever. I would be curious what they would say.
All right,
very cool.
Thank you for sending that message in. If you'd like to have your message, us answer your message, you can reach out to Robert Trace on Twitter, or you can email us at thechallengechronicles@gmail.com. And with that, I think that's all we have for this episode. Thanks again for listening, and we'll be back with you next week to talk about, what episode is it? 6, 7?
6.
Episode 6 is next.
6.
From Teresa with Love, right?
From Teresa with Love, yes.
Episode 6 of Double Agents. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you again next time. Bye.